Hi, all. We'll get started in just a moment.
Hi, Miss Navy,
Hello,
or Mrs.
hello.
Barwani.
Either works. I'm moving to the best internet room in the house.
That sounds good. I had to actually turn off my internet because it was so laggy, so now I'm on LTE and it seems to be working better.
Oh, nice.
Hopefully, Miss Sorensen will join in a minute.
Yeah, I'm
Um,
sure she will.
yes, there we go. Eagle Nation AHS joined. That's what we love to see.
I haven't done a live event since they have added this new fun feature.
Yeah, this will be interesting to experiment with.
Hmm.
Um, Hopefully it works and you don't have any issues. Hi, Miss Sorensen.
Hi, can you guys see me?
Yes, we can.
Yeah.
Awesome. I can't see myself. There you go. Sorry, this is new for me. Never been live.
All right. Awesome. So, yeah, we'll go ahead and get started now. Thank you all for joining us for this AHS Counselor Q&A live stream. Just a couple of quick reminders and disclaimers. The content warning, this live stream will be covering some heavy topics, including mental health and sexual harassment/assault. So I'll include another warning when we get closer to the time when we're discussing those topics, but just so that everyone knows from the get-go. And also, there's a question pinned that pertains to this next disclaimer, but if you'd like to submit an anonymous question for our counselors to answer, you can go fill out our form on linktr.ee/ahscopr, and that's all caps ahscopr, and fill out our form. Or if you want to submit an anonymous question through Instagram, you can submit your question by tapping the question bubble and entering your question there. And if you comment your question in the chat, it might be kind of lost in the fold of other messages. So we recommend that you use the question feature or the form, and we will try and get your question answered as best as we can. So just to start off, Ms. Varwani and Ms. Sorensen, if you'd like to introduce yourselves, say how many years you've been working at the school, and what you do as a counselor.
Absolutely. So yes, for those of you who don't know me, I am Miss Barwani, and I am one of the counselors at American High School. I have students with the last names M through SAN, and I believe this is my 6th year at American.
Yes. And I am Miss Sorensen, counselor for the students with the last names G through L. And this is my 8th year at American High School. And I'm just really excited to be here. So thank you for having us.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's great to have you here. So I'm wondering for the first question, could you elaborate a little bit more about what counselors do? What's an everyday situation look like? Yeah, just what you do for your job.
Yeah, so with regard to kind of the counselor roles or domains, we really cover under kind of 3 areas. We support students in their academics, their college and career, and then social emotional development. And so those are kind of 3 rather large umbrellas to kind of cover over. And we generally try to support and help students in all capacities that we're able to do so, whether that's through their academic planning, if they have a question, a concern, they want to talk about colleges. It's kind of just this really big area of what we try to do to support. And a typical day for us can be many different things. We might go from talking to a student about just a concern that they might have into maybe doing a letter of recommendation or a parent meeting, or lots of many different activities and hats that we wear as well.
Yeah, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And what would you say is your favorite part of the job of being a counselor?
I would say my favorite part, I really like working with you guys. I think that like high schoolers are really cool, and I really like working with students. But I really my goal is always to make sure that students have the information that they need to make the best decision for themselves. And it could be, like Miss Sorensen said, it could be in their academics, it could be in their personal social lives, and it could be in college and career planning. But whatever it is, I want them to make informed decisions, and I want them to feel like they are confident in what they are doing and moving forward with.
Absolutely. And I echo a lot of the same sentiments that Ms. Barwani shared. I really love our students, our school community. I mean, I miss seeing you guys on campus, but I love being having the opportunity to talk to you through office hours and other avenues that we get to see each other. And yeah, making the best informed decisions, helping you ideally grow in your empathy and just as a human as you're navigating through adolescence, through wellness. There are really so many wonderful aspects of having the opportunity and the privilege to work with students and at our school.
Yeah, that's a really wonderful answer. Thank you. So I'm a student and I'm confused about who I should be reaching out to with regards to my counselor. So how can I find out who my assigned counselor is?
Yeah, so we actually have all of that information posted on our website. Am I lagging, by the way? Just really quick.
Just
Am I?
just a smidge.
Yeah, just a
You're
little
okay
bit.
though.
I'm switching to my data.
Yeah, I think
Is
that's
this
a move.
better? Okay.
Yeah, that's
So
good.
yeah, we absolutely have all of our caseloads posted on the American High School website. And also we send out emails, which I know you guys are getting a lot of emails, but we send out a lot of emails with our information and our office hours. And also we have a wonderful infographic that was designed. It is much prettier than anything we've ever created for that leadership made, and that has all of our contact information. We're on School Loop. We really want you guys to reach out to us. And if you are confused, reach out to someone and we will get you to the appropriate person.
All right. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And what is some advice you would give to freshmen coming into American high school, both with regards to the social and academic aspects of school? And then on top of that, more generally, what is some advice you'd give to students at American high school about optimizing their high school experience? And then again, that's with regards to both academic and social life.
Yeah, that's a great question. I think in terms of freshmen, we know that this is kind of a new journey, a new experience. You're setting a foundation, for high school and maybe what you want to pursue after high school. And so I would really encourage you to ask questions, be engaged, advocate for yourself. If you have a question, if you have a problem, don't hesitate to reach out for support. And I would say when you're looking at classes that you're taking in high school, understanding that you don't have to fit everything into that first year. Everything that you need to do to be successful in high school and to continue on to college can be done within your 4 years of high school. And even more so than that, I think the balance is really important. Are you having enough time in your life to prioritize the things that you enjoy, to make sure that you get enough sleep, to make sure that your wellness and your balance is prioritized? Because it's really hard to put all of your energy and focus on school and not just have that time for yourself. And I think that's what kind of can create stress a little bit later too. And so really trying to figure out a system of balance that works for you, because this is your educational experience, not anyone else's. And that should be tailored to you and for you to maximize your success and your overall wellness. And I say that kind of encompasses everyone when I think about it, but I think about coming into high school as really establishing that foundation and hopefully building those healthy skills to manage throughout high school too.
Well, a lot of good information answer. Thank you. Is there anything else with regards to tips you may have for maintaining good mental health throughout high school that you'd like to give students?
I think just continuing to pay attention to yourself and your needs. I think it's really easy to get caught up in what everyone else is doing. And I mean, just as humans. And I think that if we are really paying attention to ourselves, that's like both physically and mentally, you know, like you need to make sure that you are making time to eat and sleep, and also just having time for yourself that is not school related, not work related, trying to really take care of yourself and like Miss Sorensen said, developing those skills early, because they're going to carry on throughout life, right? Like you're going to want to continue to have those self-care skills in life. Trust me, as an adult, you want them too. And so I think that just continuing to really prioritize your needs and what is best for you and your education. It's really hard because it's easy to get caught up in things, but making sure that, you know, if you do need that support, you are seeking it out and you are making sure that you are just continuing to prioritize yourself.
That's a very good point to end on. Continue to prioritize yourself. That's a good mantra. So, so now we're going to transition to a few more questions that are more specific to student counselor interactions. So, first question I have is, what happens during the study hall Zoom sessions with counselors? What are those about, and how can students access them?
Yeah, so study hall is really just a time to come together and for us to do work. So I think some of the things that we've been hearing during distance learning is that sometimes it's hard to create a routine, to carve out time to do homework, to kind of just have a space that holds you accountable to just getting something done. And so our weekly study halls are really just a created space for students to come and do work with us. And so it is usually a silent space where we, you know, I might be working on some emails or a letter of rec or something else, and then other students are doing work. And we have them Tuesday through Friday. And you usually receive the links in emails. And so we usually email every couple of weeks, just an update and a reminder to students so that they can have those links. And you can join any counselor study hall. So we are available for any and every student to kind of come and just get work done with us. We know that there's a lot of work to do, and it's just creating a space for that.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So yeah, that's a good thing to note that. For study halls, at least, you can go to any counselor you want, but for other purposes might be wanting to go to your specific counselor that's assigned. So yeah, on that, between student and counselor interactions, what information, when you're talking to your counselor, what information is defined as being confidential or not, and what are the limitations to that confidentiality?
Yeah, so you know, we really value the confidentiality that we have with our students, and the conversations that we have with you are very typically confidential, unless it's something that you want us to involve someone else with, perhaps a teacher or a parent or whatever that may be. The limitations, though, of our confidentiality are we like to be very clear about them, and it's something that I know that when we are meeting with students, we try to be very open and transparent about. But they are basically all surrounding the safety of you and everyone else. So if a student discloses that they are hurting or harming themselves, they are planning to hurt or harm someone else, or someone is hurting or harming them, then these are all things that we have to take additional action on. We are legally obligated. And so it is really all surrounding the safety of the students. And so we want to make sure that we prioritize that. And unfortunately, that is why those things cannot be confidential. We understand that can be a concern for students. And like I said, that's why we try to be incredibly transparent and open about that information so that no one's caught off guard. And in addition, as a side note, your academics, things that happen, your grades, those are not confidential things. Your parents and guardians absolutely have access to that information. Ms. Sorensen, if you want to add anything to the confidentiality.
Yeah, I mean, you covered a good piece of it. I think something that comes to mind for me is I know that we appreciate or we really try to be as transparent as possible with students. In addition to that, though, because we have limits to confidentiality does not mean that you shouldn't come and talk to us about those things. We have a lot of resources, we have a lot of support and help that we can provide. And so we want to create those safe spaces for you to be able to have those conversations with us, and so that we can help maybe figure out together what the next best step is in supporting
Mm-hmm.
you. And so, yeah, so please don't hesitate to come to us with those things, because we truly do want to make sure that your health and safety is prioritized and we get appropriate supports.
Yeah, yeah, that's a very good point to touch on. Yeah, a further question about that student counselor interaction, maybe at a time when it's less convenient. So how can I, as a student, reach out to you, counselor, when school is not in session, or maybe when it's a weekend or a holiday, for example? Are there options for those interactions outside of school hours?
Yeah, so I would say generally we are available during kind of the school day, that 8 to 3:30 range. In terms of that, if you do email us, we will see that when we return to work. I would say that if there is kind of a if there's an immediate concern over the weekend, for example, I would want students to know how to make sure that they get immediate help and support for that. And so that might look like, if there's a safety concern, it's absolutely okay to call 911. It's absolutely okay to tell an adult. It's okay to call a crisis hotline. If you need immediate help and a counselor is not available or accessible during a time that we're not in school, that doesn't mean that you shouldn't reach out to help for help from someone. And we have a tremendous amount of resources on our website, as well as the wonderful infographic that you guys made and put on Instagram for us, which is a really handy tool to use. But please, if there is something that is an immediate need over a time when we aren't available, I don't want you to not get help. Please
Yeah.
make sure that you reach
Don't
out.
wait.
Yes, do not wait. I don't know, Ms. Barwani, if there's more that you wanted to add.
No, yeah, I think you covered it. We try to be available as much as possible, but if school is not in session, then we will most likely not be getting back to you until school resumes session. And so we don't want you to hold on to an urgent concern. We absolutely want you to come to us once school is returned, but we also want you to seek that immediate support if that's necessary.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, that makes a lot of sense, and uh, touched on an important point there with the seeking those external resources when school is not in session, and that actually kind of leads into my next question, which is talking about the distinctions between types of support, support professionals. So, what would you say is the difference between you and a therapist, and what are some of the distinctions between those two jobs?
Yeah, so Miss Sorensen did a really good job of kind of describing what a school counselor does at the beginning. We really focus on supporting all students in their academics, in personal social situations, and in their college and career planning, right? And so that is a really, like she had mentioned, a broad umbrella. And so we really do strive to help support you guys in anything and everything, but we don't do therapy. So we aren't trained to do therapy with students. And what I mean by therapy and what a therapist typically does is they are going to support a client in a specific need, um, typically a mental health concern that needs ongoing support. So this is probably something that is impacting someone pretty regularly, most likely on a daily basis. And it's something that would benefit from getting ongoing support. And depending on the type of therapy, there may be different types of activities or exercises or practices that a therapist goes through with a client, but they're very targeted based on a specific need. And it is something, like I said, that is a regular ongoing thing. Maybe you see a therapist every week or every 2 weeks. It really depends on the need and the situation. But it is, like I said, for something very specific. Ms. Sorensen, maybe you want to add to that?
Yeah,
Or do you want to add to that?
I mean, I think you covered a good bit of that. It really provides that ongoing help and support, the building of
Mhm.
coping skills, the it just having that access to navigating through maybe what that challenge is. So yeah, I would say Ms.
Mhm.
Barwani did a pretty comprehensive overview of that. And so, like as a counselor, though, we might help you find ways to connect with a therapist. So
Right.
we tend to be a little bit more resource based. So if you come and talk with us about something, we're going to help you navigate through that challenge. And if we determine, or if you even are like, I feel like I really need some additional support, some ongoing support to overcome this challenge, to navigate through this, or you're noticing something that's a bit more serious in terms of wanting to work on solving that or working through that, then we can also help to connect you with additional supports, to connect you with on-term or long-term counseling therapeutic supports.
Yeah, so actually that's the perfect lead into my next question is, so many perfect lead-ins here. It's almost like this was planned ahead of time, but
We try.
we try our best indeed. So, is there any way that I as a student can take advantage of services that counselors refer students to outside of schools, such as maybe youth and family services offered by City of Fremont or Arise?
Yeah, absolutely. So I would say if you are noticing a concern or you just have something that's going on that you want to talk more about and kind of see what your options are to receiving additional support or services outside of school, I would definitely connect with your school counselor so we can talk more about that. Every student's situation is a little bit different. We probably want to talk a little bit more to see what your needs are and what the best resource or referral would be. But then there's also the opportunity to for students to access their own counseling supports outside of school as well. So for example, if you are talking to your pediatrician and letting them know about challenges that you are just experiencing or anything that's going on with you, they can actually help connect you with supports that are provided through your insurance. We do see a number of families that will contact directly through their insurance or contact YFS or contact or Youth and Family Services or contact the Arise program or the Hume Center and connect with services directly from them as well. And then we also have a new organization that we're working with this year, which is called Care Solace. And so students have access to that as a resource to also find additional therapeutic supports too. And counselors are just really an avenue or a resource guide to help you get to those steps, to help you access some of those services too.
Yeah. So, mentioned a lot of good resources there, YFS, the Hume Center, and Arise. And just so students know, the same link I referred to earlier in the live stream, linktr.ee/ahscopr, you can both access our question form and also our doc with the list of resources there. So if you'd like to refer back to some of the resources that Ms. Sorensen talked about in this question, you can go there. And actually, an additional question about resources. So have there been any list of resources released by either administrators or counselors with regards to mental health and or related issues? And if so, where can I find those additional resources?
Yeah, so we have posted a tremendous number of resources on our counseling website. Um, that being said, I also want to plug your infographic and very comprehensive resource doc that you have put together, that leadership put together. It covers so much of what we have to offer, and I think that it is presented in a way that's really digestible. And so while we definitely have most of that information probably on the counseling department website, I think navigation wise, I would highly recommend your infographic and resource doc.
Well, thank you very much for the shameless plug, Mrs. Barwani. We
No
appreciate
problem.
it. All right. So here's a little bit of a, it's not the perfect transition, but here's another question from the student. So Say I want to speak to my counselor, but I don't want someone in my household to hear I'm speaking to them, either audibly or hear about that I'm speaking to a counselor. What should I do in that situation?
Yeah. So I would say it's helpful for us to know. So if you want to talk to a counselor and it's something that is important to you that we remain confidential, or you don't want maybe a family member to know, that's helpful when we set up a Zoom or we set up a time to talk so that we're aware of that information, because we do have confidential conversations with students and we respect your privacy unless it's a safety concern. And then other things that we can do, if it is like maybe using like headphones, forgot the word for a second. If that's helpful for something that you can do, or if there is a time in which is better for you to speak where you might have a little bit more privacy in your house, or some way that we can probably connect, you could email us and talk to us about that, and we can try to find a time or a situation or a method of communication that is best for you as well. So we will try to work with you with regards to that.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Thank you for that flexibility. So we've got another student question. What are 504 plans and how can students need to access them?
Yeah, so 504 plans are basically plans that help schools support students with a physical or mental condition that is impacting learning typically, or some sort of major life activity, right? And so if that is something that if that's something that a student is going through, then we're going to seek to provide accommodations so that we are able to best support that student in their learning. And I would say that if that's something a student is concerned about, I would hope that that's something that they have discussed with their pediatrician, whatever health concern it is. I hope that that's something that they are also receiving any appropriate medical care for. And then in addition, it's definitely something that if a parent or guardian is not already aware of this health concern, that that's something that they have a conversation with their parent or guardian about, because these are typically much larger situations that do impact students on a daily basis. And so in that case, if that was something that a parent or guardian and student felt was necessary, then they would contact the school and we would hold a meeting to determine eligibility for a 504 plan, which would be what would give the student the necessary accommodations to access their learning better.
Yeah, good to know. Thank you. So we've got another actually situation-specific question here. So this is from a student. I find myself not being able to be awake for all hours of the day in order to get my schoolwork done. From 9 to 2, I'm barely awake for classes, and then my body is tired by 6 p.m. Is there any way to combat this? Is it possibly related to mental health?
That is a great question. And the first thing that honestly comes to mind is that I want you to see your counselor so we can talk a little bit more about specifically what's going on, because there are a number of factors and a number of questions that we are probably going to have to help you figure out how best to navigate through that situation, or to understand a little bit more about the next steps, because sleep can be a little bit tricky, and sometimes it's a matter of retraining our bodies when we've come into certain habits or routines. But it could be something that is a little bit more than that. It could be a physical health concern. It could be a mental health concern. So there are just a number of factors that are kind of within that question that I'd want to know a little bit more about to best support. So I'm really glad that you asked, and please, if that is a concern that you have, reach out to your counselor to talk a little bit more. If you're not comfortable maybe talking a little bit in that capacity, you can also contact your pediatrician and just say, I've noticed this with my sleep. Let's talk more about this. And then they will also help navigate that from, a health perspective that they do as doctors too.
Yeah, Yeah, it would be important to learn a little bit more about the context of that situation. Yeah, so I'm going to repeat the quick content reminder that I said at the beginning because delving a little bit more into it. So this live stream will be covering some heavy topics, including mental health and sexual harassment / assault. So just so if there's anyone new here, just so that you're aware, we will be going into those topics now. So there's been a lot of attention paid recently to the racist, misogynist shootings in Atlanta last week, and our student body has been quite shaken and angered by these attacks. So in general, how can counselors and frankly students best support students in times of tragedy like these?
Yeah. So I think something that comes to mind for me is how we come together as a community, how we listen to one another's voices. And it makes me think of the American High School Inclusion Coalition that we also had the opportunity to start this year, where it brings students and staff together to kind of talk about our school community, to talk about the student perspective, to try to help make sure that we are creating safe spaces, understanding the student experience, and responding appropriately. With not just maybe what we think is best as educators, but also with what students feel like they need support or access to as well. And so I know we have a meeting coming up next week, and this is actually one of the topics that we do plan to discuss as well. And so I think understanding or having that discussion and talking a little bit more about that, and seeing what actions that we can also take to support students, or what support might be needed in that capacity, will be incredibly helpful. But I also want every student to know that counselors are available. We create safe spaces for students to come and talk to us about anything. There truly isn't anything that you are not able to come to talk to us about. It is a non-judgmental, safe space. Our entire goal and purpose is going to be able to talk open and honest with you, and to provide any support, help, resources, or just a place to be. And I would say, because I know that you asked about like supporting peers as well. I think one, as a community, it does require us to have maybe some difficult conversations, a little bit of educating and understanding and advocating in terms of maybe things that we need to do to work together to help create a community of, I feel like I might have rambled, but like just safety and welcomeness, and to do that work in terms of being anti-racist and working towards that, and calling out racism as students, as educators, as in the work that we do with students, and the work that students do with each other, right? Like your words have power, and understanding and acknowledging and learning as a student, but also, reaching out to a friend or talking to someone about that, because yeah, they might be hurting, and you might want to just connect and say, I'm here for you. And sometimes that's all you need to do. You don't have to provide a way to solve the problem, but sometimes it's like, I'm here for you. Like, if you want to talk to me, my arms are open, my door is open. I want to hear what you have to say. Miss Barwani.
Yeah, I want to echo a lot of what you've said. I think that we really strive as counselors to create safe spaces for students. But we also know that students provide safe spaces sometimes for other students. And we really want to, I know that it's difficult in this distanced environment to feel that connection, but we just urge you to reach out to someone if you need support. And we are here to talk and listen. And I'm not going to pretend to have all of the solutions, absolutely. But I think that what Ms. Sorensen said about really providing a space for our community, but also making sure that our community feels safe, right? Our full community that encompasses students, staff, everyone, that they feel safe in our community, but also that they have a safe space within that if they need additional support. And I think that a lot of that, there's the individual work that I need to do, that we all need to do to work that we all need to do as a community, not only just coming together, but feel conversations, ensuring that everyone feels safe and welcome and respected.
Yeah, that's a fantastic point about making sure that people who want to connect with others over these issues can connect. I just wanted to let students who are watching know that there's actually going to be on Sunday a community care space for Asian Americans, and that includes students at Lake Elizabeth, the Central Park Pavilion at 4 p.m. So if anyone's interested in coming together as a community and talking about these issues, there will be a space for that. Now transitioning into another well-related issue. So when we're on campus, what is the appropriate procedure for reporting incidents of sexual assault or harassment?
Well, when we're on campus, I would encourage a student to come talk to their counselor or assistant principal about that concern. And so I will say that it is hard to explain there's not necessarily one linear procedure, because it depends on the specifics a little bit more in terms of how we might of next steps. But I would say the first step would be to please come and express what's going on. So
Okay, yeah, so, oh, sorry.
or did it occur off campus? Was of the situation that would dictate how
Yeah, so,
Yeah,
oh,
sorry, go ahead.
sorry, please.
No, and I would just echo that that if you so remember again, we want to create those safe spaces. Yeah, you were clear. And so, like, again, we want to create those safe spaces for students to be able to come and talk to us. And so we are going to handle that report with the utmost care and concern in terms of responding in a way that one is necessary and required for us to do so, but also to get that additional help or support that you might need as well. I know sometimes that it's really hard to speak on just things that you may be experiencing or things that may have happened to you or that you're uncomfortable with, and so sometimes it requires a little bit of bravery or a little bit of putting yourself out there, but please do remember that the ultimate goal in the work that we do is just helping to support you and just providing the appropriate next best step in providing that additional help and support. If that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. And Ms. Barwani, that was an important thing to point out that I had said on campus, and I mean, we're not on campus now. So
Right.
would that appropriate first step of action still be like reaching out to a counselor, for example, through loop mail to or discuss those experiences, or if it occurred with another, or if another student was somehow involved, would it be appropriate to reach out to a counselor through loop mail, for example?
Yeah, so I would say it's always, you can always reach us by loop mail to set up an appointment. We also have daily office hours. So Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 9 a.m., we have office hours. And so even if it's to drop in and say, hey, can we set up an appointment for later? Totally fine. Or if there's something urgent that we need to talk about in that moment, we're going to talk about it in that moment. And so for anything that is an immediate need and urgent concern, we really do want you to contact us so we can set up a time to speak with you a little bit more. I would say sometimes in email things are a little bit hard to translate. So if you tell us about something in email that we might be really concerned about or need more information on, then we're probably going to want to follow up in a conversation to make sure that we understand the scope of that and to kind of navigate the next best steps.
Yeah. Right. Thank you for laying those details out for us. So, yeah, just another question. If I have a friend who I believe could be in need of professional mental health support, how should I approach the situation? Is there any way that I could act proactively and in an appropriate manner to make sure that I could help them receive the support that they need?
Yeah, absolutely. First and foremost, thanks for being a supportive friend. It sounds like that you are probably someone that you're either listening to them or you're observing something and you're worried. Oh, Miss Barwani, I think you might have a delay.
I do. Sorry. I will try to
Yeah.
find another spot. And
That's okay. I'll take it. And so where was I? So yes, so thank you for being that supportive friend. And I would say um, it really does depend on the concern. It is not uncommon for someone to consult with a counselor about that situation and say, this is what I'm noticing, this is what I'm experiencing or seeing. What should I do? But you can also talk to your friend about that, about the situation, and say, I really think that this has been a concern for a while, and maybe we need to get some additional help or some support. How would you feel about talking to your counselor? Or this, hey, I learned this was your counselor. Do you want to go talk to them? You can, I would say, as that student, you can talk to us about what you're worried about, and as the friend, you can encourage them to come and see us and to talk more about things as well. And then just to add one last piece is, if there is ever an immediate safety concern, or if there's ever a concern where you are worried that your friend is a danger to themselves or that they're not okay, we need to respond immediately in terms of the response to that concern. So I will reiterate that it is absolutely okay to call 911 and to say, I have an immediate concern about someone, and then they will support from there, because we always have to prioritize that above else, and that is absolutely you being a true friend, and you supporting and prioritizing their safety, their health, and their wellness. And so I just want to end on that. I don't know, Miss Barwani, if there's anything else you want to add.
I may have missed about 75% of that answer. So I'm hoping that I'm not lagging anymore.
No, you're good.
So we'll see how this room does. But I trust that you did a wonderful job.
Yes. And you can access resources on our website. You can also contact crisis hotlines. You can share that information with friends. And so, yeah, but sometimes navigating through a difficult situation alone is hard. So if you do have a concern, it's okay to reach out to us and talk to them, even if it's a concern with someone else.
Yeah, thank you for that information. And everyone listening, link or phone number for the Alameda County Crisis Hotline. You can go to linktr.ee/AHSCOPR. Information is on the doc, so feel free to refer to that. This next question is one of our last questions, and it's kind of building off of what I had asked before, but kind of deepening the base of what I'm asking a little bit. So say my friend has confided in me that they're struggling with mental health issues and they're not currently seeing a counselor or a therapist. What should I do in that situation? And does the course of action appropriate for addressing my friend's mental health issues extend to other issues such as sexual harassment or assault?
Those are two I think probably slightly different questions. But I
Yeah.
think that I think the theme is that there's definitely a concern with a friend, right? You are concerned, or
Hmm.
someone is concerned about their friend for a potentially serious situation, and either a mental health concern or potentially a sexual assault or something of that nature. And so I think that I'm guessing that Miss Sorensen probably did a really good job of addressing the ways to reach out to us. But I would once again encourage you to not go through that, navigate that alone. I know that those are scary topics and they're really concerning for a variety of reasons. And I think that navigating it alone can be really difficult. And it is really, really hard sometimes because you also want to, you want to acknowledge your friend's privacy, your friend's wishes. I think if there is a safety concern with your friend, that takes priority over everything. And as Ms. Sorensen said, it is 100% okay to call 911 to seek adult support in that very moment. That safety supersedes privacy. But then with regards to supporting that's, maybe less immediate safety related, I know that you can be a support to your friend, but also that can be a big burden to carry by yourself. And so we really encourage you to seek out support and please contact us. We are happy to talk to you, like Ms. Sorensen said, even if it's not about something that's going on with you, but if it's something going on with someone in your life.
Yeah. Well, that would, yeah, thank you for that information. That would be a little bit of a heavy note to end on. So I have one last question for both of you, or actually two-parter, so maybe two last questions. I like including like two-part questions in there, just to throw people off. But so what would you say is the best way to reach out to counselors? And is there anything else either of you would like to say to the students watching?
Yeah, so the best way to reach us is to drop into our office hours, to email us. I would say either on School Loop or our direct email for Fremont Unified, and those are I would say the fastest ways to get a hold of us. Again, if you drop into our office hours, we can answer quick questions, or we can set up meetings later, or we can talk now if that's something that we need to do in that moment as well. And so we know that it's a little bit hard being distant, that, you don't have the opportunity to necessarily just swing by our offices, but you do have the ability to drop into our office hours. And so, yeah, please don't hesitate to do that. We do really like seeing you guys. We miss you. And we like when you pop by and say hi. Like, you can come and say hi to me. Like, if we haven't talked in a while and you're like, Miss Sorensen, I haven't seen
And
your
I'm going to
face
be
and I
like,
missed
hi!
it. You can come say hi. And so yeah, we do want to see you. We want to help support in any way that we can. Gosh, I have so many like last things to end on, but ultimately, you
Please.
guys, I'm a rambler. But
Uh,
ultimately, you guys, like, if you need help, if you need support, if you have a question, please, don't hesitate to reach out. I think Miss Barwani hit on something that I think is important too, is sometimes we hold on to really heavy stuff that our friends tell us. And so you may not necessarily be experiencing that specific challenge yourself, but if there's also something heavy that's going on with your friend, it makes you a good friend to get additional help and support. It means you love them. It means you care for them. You're not doing anything wrong. And we're just going to prioritize their wellness and your wellness. And that's truly the ultimate goal in that. But in addition to that, I know sometimes we have a lot of academic stress. We feel a lot of academic pressure, and you guys are going to, you have the ability to accomplish great things in life, whether you take all of the academic classes. There's lots of opportunities after high school. And I just want to say that you guys, it's not, I guess it's not where you start, it's how you finish, right? It's the opportunities that you make for yourself in high school, that you make for yourself in college, that require your balance and your ability to just, I don't know, be well and take time for yourself and go on a hike with your family and get enough sleep, that doesn't, require you to academically overload yourself, because remember, we are building lifelong skills, and your balance is important, and you're important, and that's what I'll end on.
Yeah.
So.
It's a good thing to end on. Miss Sorensen said a lot of wonderful things. Please reach out to us. Email or office hours are definitely the best at the moment, because they are going to be the fastest. Honestly, I think that what I just want to encourage everyone is to not be scared to reach out to us. I mean, I don't think I'm scary, but I don't know, maybe I am sometimes. And so I'd like to promise you that I'm not super scary, and none of our counselors are. And to please take that step if you feel like it's something that you even just want to check in or say hi, or you don't have to come with a problem or like something that you need to fix. You can come with anything, or you can come with something like you have no idea what you need to talk about, right? But you just want to talk to someone, and that's okay. And we really want to be there for each and every one of you. Honestly, I miss you guys so much. And talking to students is definitely the best part of our day, I'll tell you that. And so the more that we can do that, the better.
Yeah. Well, again, I want to thank both you, Mrs. Barwani and Ms. Sorensen, for taking the time to join us today. I realized there have been a couple questions that came in that I think there's been some breakdown in communication and I missed. So I'll sometime in the near future, I'll add those questions to our resources doc at the end, and we'll hopefully get answers for those as soon as we can. Again, I want to thank you both. If for everyone watching, if you want to refer back to this live stream later, we will be posting this on the Eagle Nation Now YouTube page, and also you can access this live stream on IGTV at ahs.copr. So that's pretty much it. So thank you both so much, and
awesome. Thank you for having us.
Yes, it was
Thank
nice
you.
to spend the afternoon together. You guys take care, be well.
Have a great weekend.
And we hope to see you soon.
Yes, we do.
See you all soon. Bye.
Bye.